good morning or afternoon. We're going to come up and share. We're going to kind of share our story more than just Lego. We're going to kind of tell a story about how the right mixture of family, education, and creativity brought us to this place as young entrepreneurs. And we will tell our stories about how we got into working with the Lego company, how we got into selling Lego in the first place, and now how it turned itself into Bonanza Educational.
And then also, more importantly, how you can take passion and turn it into any type of business. And additionally, how age, whether it's on the young side of the factor or on the older side of the factor, doesn't limit starting a business or starting any of that passion and turning it into a business.
So one of our biggest passions, talking about passion, and this is going to be a recurring theme as we talk all day today, is creativity. It's what we do with Bonanza Educational. It's what really helped us get started as entrepreneurs when we were younger. And what we wholeheartedly believe today is the future of the American economy is in creativity. It's not hard work anymore. It's not even necessarily education. Look at all those people who are sitting with freshly out of college, graduated, that are still working at their college job because there's nobody hiring. These are 6 2x4 Lego bricks. 2x4 Lego brick is the first part that was created by the Lego company when they started making their automatic binding plastic bricks, as they were originally called, now 55 years ago. 6 Lego bricks of any color can be arranged in 915 million ways. If you reached into a bucket of Lego and you pulled out 20 random pieces, regardless of color, put them together in a random way, because, I mean, we've all seen the kids stack up 10 bricks of the same color together because that makes sense to the kid. If you took 20 parts and you arranged them completely randomly, there is a very strong chance that has never been created before and that will never be created again. There are so many different ways to combine Lego, so many different colors of Lego, so many different pieces of Lego. And one thing, as fans of Lego, that we have grown up building Lego and now as adults continue to construct in Lego, is that if you follow the adult fan community, the ways that these people figure out how to build a Lego brick is amazing. And it just goes to show you why this toy is still going after 75 years, and why it will still be going, and why it is completely, without a doubt, the most timeless toy in the world, and why we use it in our business today. But we'll talk a little bit more about Lego in a sec. We kind of want to tell you a little bit about our story, because all of us here, in some way or another, have an influence on other people's lives, hopefully some kids' lives. Maybe you're a parent or a wannabe parent, and we feel like our story is kind of unique and helps explain why we ended up as entrepreneurs here in our early 20s. So I'm really going to go back to, we were homeschooled, and we were homeschooled, by the way, that's commonly known as unschooling, where our parents let us pick our path. Oh, you're interested in math? We'll work on math. I finished my first college math book when I was 13 years old. I didn't do math again for 5 years. But I loved math as a kid. For my brother, it was art. Brian.
Growing up was something interesting for us because of that unschooled technique. Both Jeremy and myself graduated the equivalency of high school in our 13th and 14th years. Myself being the younger one, because I kind of said I gave up on it, saying it was too easy and it wasn't worth it. But what it did instead was give us the ability to go on and take those passions and turn them into what now today has become larger passions and business. So some of those passions back then for myself was art and design, for Jeremy was web design and creating websites. And then additionally, between the both of us was the love for Lego. Something that had always been a passion in our lives since we were, in the ages of 3 and 4 starting with Duplo, all the way up until this time frame. We were able to take that freedom we had, and then with the guidance of our parents, and our family background being in entrepreneurship with both of our grandparents, my father, and a lot of different family members along the way owning their own business, gave us that independent encouragement to go forth and start businesses instead of getting jobs. And so then even at that age of 13, 14, and 15 where we were, you know, we weren't old enough yet to start a career or start a job even at any typical job for a 15-year-old. So what our parents did instead was encourage us in creating those passions and turning them into businesses. Jeremy, for himself, was going to some of our local friends and family and creating websites for their small businesses. Myself was honing in that art skill. And together it was us starting this business that we call Brick Bros, which we still own today, selling retail Lego online.
But before we can even talk about Brick Bros, when we were 10 and 11, we started scouting. And one of the key elements of any scouting program is fundraising. And so we have they make it really easy on you. They give you the order forms and everything. Go out and sell. You only need to sell 5 Christmas wreaths or 20 of the Scoutorama tickets to meet your goal for your unit, and you raise enough money for your unit. And Brian and I said, well, we can do more. And this is where creativity started playing in our entrepreneurship at a very early age. At 11 years old, we set a goal, which was crazy, to be the top seller in Arizona for the Scoutorama ticket. And we sat down with our parents and how can we do this? And of course, we made those little charts, you know, the thermometer that rises in temperature as you get closer to your goal. We made letters. We walked to businesses. We didn't walk door to door. That wasn't useful to us. We went to businesses. We talked to them, and we actually found people who would buy entire books of tickets. And back then, it was $25 for a book of tickets. It wasn't that much money, but to us, we wanted to be the top seller. And
in addition to us combining both ticket sales to one person.
Yeah, and cheat a little bit. What was really cool that year when we did that, because we went further, we created a marketing campaign for pieces of paper that the Boy Scouts sell, basically, with coupons on it. We created a marketing campaign, and we went out and we applied it. And that year, we were top sellers in our council. We won a lot of cool things: a TV for our room, a VCR for our room, because we shared a room until he got married. A VCR for our room, a TV for our room, a boombox, and then at the actual event that we were selling the tickets for, they drew names for a trip to Disneyland, and we won that as well. And so it was really awesome and really rewarding, beyond the fact that we also raised $700 for our unit.
And not alone was it just that financial raising, but it was that education going back into the homeschool. So where our parents took that ability to go and sell with the Scouts and to say kill 2 birds with 1 stone, they turned it into small business training for us. They turned it into entrepreneur development, where they said, you know, there are other ways to earn money. There's other ways to start businesses. It just doesn't have to be one thing or another. And they turned it into education for us because we had finished the equivalency of high school at that time. Then when me and Jeremy went back, you know, in our 18 and 19s, we both graduated in the 89 to 98 percentile of Arizona standards. And so what it was is we had got to that equivalency of education through Arizona standards at that young age, but our parents still said, hey, education doesn't stop there. Education continues into what grows into life skills.
A lot of homeschooled parents who see their kids excel will send them to college at 15. We didn't want that. We hated being different. So we went out and we did volunteer work and we started a business. And so at 15, my mom's trying to figure out what her kids need to do. We're done with the basics. I'm reading a lot of college history books because history is interesting to me at this point in my life. Brian's apprenticing with a professional artist in what would lead to him going to art school for college. And but we don't want to go the traditional education route. And so my dad said, after an experience he had trying to find a Lego set for a birthday, for my birthday, he said, well, let's see if we can sell this online. And back then, this is early 2002, we just had the economic downturn of that time, nothing like we had
September 11th.
Yeah, the 9/11 downturn. So a lot of Lego sets had been overproduced around that time and were sitting on discount retailer shelves. But the problem with that was that they were still in demand. They just weren't getting to the customers. And so we figured out that we could go buy them off these discount retailer shelves and then sell them again online. And the big fad back then was eBay. And so we started that. We started that on we like to say February 1st was the first day we started selling. It was right around there. And we were selling on eBay. Back then, eBay's fees were about a quarter of what they are now. Nobody could do this again, I don't think. Not on eBay, at least. And within our first year, we had turned $70,000 worth of Lego just by packaging and shipping them and buying them at stores like KB Toys or Target when things were on clearance. And it was just fantastic, and it was a lot of fun.
And it was a low profit margin. It was something where our dad was taking us around and driving us to the stores to pick them up, not charging us gas money nor his time, but taking that passion of ours and that passion of his to be an entrepreneur and see his children grow, to give us that effort and that dedication to build a business that has lasted 10 years now. But at that point of $70,000 in sales over the first year, me and Jeremy said, well, if we can do it with retail and buying it at KB Toys and Targets and Walmarts, why can't we actually do it with the Lego company? So it ended up coming to a point where I called up the Lego company, just out of the blue, picked a random number that I could find, and by the grace of God, got in touch with the exact right person I was supposed to. Not saying it was an easy phone call, but I got to talk to the right person. So mind you, I'm still 14, and I was on the phone with this representative, and I said, hey, I want to start a distribution with your company. And so it was easy. She's like, okay, great. Let me start some paperwork. What's the name of your company? What's this? And then it came down to basically, where are you located? I said, oh, we're in Arizona. Okay, what's your store location? We don't have a store location. We're online only. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. We don't do online only. And I'm like, what? Yeah, we have a strict policy. We have Lego.com. We don't do online only companies. We do strictly retail companies. And she's like, thanks for calling. You know, I'm sorry. You have a good day. And I'm like, wait. I'm like, does money talk? And she's like, yeah, money talks. That's fine. What kind of money are you talking about? I'm like, well, the first year we did this much in sales. She said, okay, that kind of money talks. But she's like, I hear numbers like that all day long. I said, okay, if you give us distribution, we'll grow from $70,000, and I promise we'll purchase $110,000 worth of Lego from you guys this year. And she said, okay, but you know, that's just somebody saying a number now to get my interest. And she's like, I'm sorry, we can't work this out. You know, try contacting us again in a couple years. As she was probably about to hang off the phone, I said, you know, me and my brother are 14 and 15 years old. Can't you give us a chance? And she, at that point, you could almost hear her jaw drop on the phone, because that's that point where she said, there's an exception here. And she's like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? She's like, that's something I can work with. And so from that, and 6 months later of paperwork and discussing with them, me and Jeremy became the first online independent retailer with the Lego company, because they saw our passion and success of their brand at our young age, and taking something that they had never really thought of before in a selling standard and turning it into a business in a down economy. And so that first year we kept all our promises. Instead of $110,000, we purchased $120,000 from them. We became their #1 independent toy dealer. And it was all from just purchasing from the Lego company themselves now on discontinued items that they couldn't sell themselves and reselling them on eBay across the world.
And to give you an idea how this works, not to give you our business model, because there's a lot of knowledge and research that goes into us understanding how to sell Lego, but basically a Target or a Walmart will sell an item for no more than a year. They don't want it collecting dust on their shelf. It will be out of there. Chances are, if it came in January, it's out by September to make room for a new product line for December for Christmas. And Lego Company, on the other hand, their product life cycle is about 2 years. Well, a kid will get a small Lego set, maybe a $20 Lego set for Easter. They might get a $40 Lego set for their birthday. The kid got all their chores done and got great grades, and mom goes out and buys them the $5 Lego set in this theme. And in the package of the theme is this little handout that shows all the other sets related to the theme. By the time Christmas comes around, the kid wants the rest of them. He has the small ones. He sees the adventures that are possible in that theme. But the mom and dad go to the store. They can't find it at the store. Why? Because Target said, we're done carrying this theme right now. We've got the next one in for Christmas. Excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. And so what we would do is we would target those popular themes, get the bigger sets that aren't on the shelves anymore, and make sure that they were available. And it got to a point where we had regular customers who were just coming to us, hey, these are the ones my kids want. Even if they might be found on the shelf, we were helping these parents fill in the blanks. While at the same time,
specializing collection and hard to find for our Lego sets.
Yeah.
Even to the day where we're still selling some of the sets from our original purchase from Lego 10 years ago. Some of the original purchases we had, we still have and are selling. You know, there's like 3 or 4 of them left. But that's the point where we're so ready for collectors that we're taking, again, their passion for Lego and meeting their need.
So anyway, college starts happening for us. We're now old enough to start college. Brian ends up going to California. And with time, this fun hobby we had as kids that paid our bills, we got our gas and our insurance paid for, and we had our fun with. We let it
work anywhere until 18.
Yeah. We kind of let it go down a little bit because we were focusing on the things that you're supposed to be focusing on at 18. But the story was still there. The story still interested people. If the story is interesting you right now, obviously it interested people back then too. And every now and then we have a reporter call us, ask to do a story on us. Maybe we were giving a big donation to a charity toy drive or something like that. And around when we were 18 and 19, we were asked to go speak at a school. And this school started out with just talking to the entrepreneurship club at a junior high school out in East Mesa. And when we got in, it wasn't just 15 people in an entrepreneurship club.
It was the entire school.
The principal got wind that we were coming and we were speaking at an entire school assembly. Totally scared us. But at the same time, it was really exciting.
But ended up talking to them about the same things, that age is not a limitation to entrepreneurship. You can start anywhere as simple as mowing someone's lawn, all the way up to developing a product, like some of the examples they do in their entrepreneurship club. But it was those same things that we discussed, and it was what we found is that we led all these skills that we found in our growth business into 5 or 6 characteristics that we learned through the Lego brand building products, and led to.
And basically, we determined after this presentation that we kind of gave on the fly, driving home from East Mesa, because that's a long drive when you live in Chandler, that Lego, playing with Lego, plus the reinforcement of these skills that we were being given by our parents, could be boiled down to being creative, could be boiled down to this problem-solving process that Lego allows. That when we played together, my brother and I and our 2 sisters, we were communicating and we were creating these worlds. And what we saw was that these things that you learn by playing with Lego, if they could be turned into lessons, they could be taught again. And maybe that kid who casually plays with Lego but spends most of his time doing sports or video games, but still enjoys Lego toys, we could give them the experience that we had over years and years of creating worlds on our bedroom floors while we were spending the day waiting for our friends to get off of traditional school. We could take these and turn them into lessons. And so we had this idea, and we called it Building Bonanza. And it would take 5 years for us to start actually making it happen. When our good friend Chris, who is also a Lego fan, who had this huge collection he was building, and we were actually co-creating the Arizona Adult Lego Fan Club called Cactus Brick. He's working at Gilbert Public Schools, and he tells us, hey, there's an opportunity here. I would like to bring Lego into the classroom, but I know you guys have a plan. I have the time. And so this whole experience that we had up to this point about what we learned about entrepreneurship and living and being creative came into lesson plans that we started teaching at schools 3 years ago. It was one school in fall of 2009. This fall, it's going to be 110 schools. This summer, it was 4 summer camps. And since we started, it's been nearly 10,000 kids that we have affected with our passion and our enthusiasm. Today, those tenets we call collaboration or teamwork, creative critical thinking or problem solving, communication, and the last thing that we've added in since our first brainstorming session on that drive home from Red Mountain Junior High School was technical aptitude, which we apply as much as we can. So all of a sudden, we still sell Lego, and we have somebody who goes out to the storage unit, he gathers the shipments and ships them for us, and we spend some time every week or so adding things to sell and stuff like that. We don't really focus on that anymore. We focus on changing kids' lives now. But now what we're doing is this has all led up to this point where we're now affecting these children's lives and we're running these Lego-themed classes. And we learned that these concepts of creativity can be applied through other media as well. And so that story picks up last year, as you talk about your story.
And so again, that passion went back into it. You know, we kept every newspaper article we still do to this day is, how do you guys do it? How do you sell Lego so well? How do you teach so well with Lego? Because it's been our life. You know, it's something that we are extremely passionate about. We have the joy of seeing these kids light up and working through Lego because we know how beneficial it is for them. That gives us the inspiration to move on and move forward in our business, bringing, again, success back to our business because of it. We have been eBay's top 10% sellers before. We have been Amazon's top 25% Christmas sellers. And we sit back and we're like, well, how did we do that? You know, we never really had any big plan of, let's go be Amazon's top 25%. It's never been that in our business. It's been deeper than that. It's been, let's help people. Let's bring quality equipment to families and friends, or not equipment, but I mean Lego, to collectors, and give their interest and drive their passion as well. And so like Jeremy was saying, last year it came into us rethinking our company and saying, you know what, our company has more depth than just Lego building. Yes, Lego is where we started. Lego is where we'll probably always be. But we said, you know what, there's other ways that kids can learn these beneficial experiences through different mediums of creativity. And so we introduced the idea of filmmaking, where we introduced the Real Stars program, which is a deep passion of our business partner, Chris, who at one point was studying to go into film through college. And then we also did through expression through movement, where we call urban movement. So dance and creative movement for girls. Because we said, you can learn these same skills of communication, teamwork, and collaboration through these mediums. And at this point, we're not going to limit ourselves for the future because we know that there are more of these creative skills that can be brought into these same passions. And so really what it did is develop our company into an area where we say education is the goal, and these are the mediums that drive where we're going with this.
And it's creativity in education. We have seen as we've delved into this concept that, number one, the world's changing. The education system before 1800 was a trade type education system. You learned your father's or your family friend's trade through apprenticeship or just growing up on the farm. In the 1800s, it became an industrial education system. We were teaching our kids how to work in a factory. They all need to know about the same thing. After that, it was on-the-job training. Today, we don't have either of those economies. America's future is in a creativity and innovation-based economy. We don't even have this service economy that kind of popped up in the 80s and now is going away to India and China. And so the future of the American economy as we see it is in our ability to create and innovate. These ideas are so important. That's why we work at Gangplank, because this is a center for creative people to come and create and innovate and collaborate. And so that is where our business was going. And at the beginning of the year, we changed our name from Building Bonanza to Bonanza Educational. The future of our company is about creativity-based education Right now it's extracurricular. In the long run, we hope to be involved in a school that centers an education around creativity, that maybe doesn't follow that standard, that maybe has to graduate kids with a GED, but watch how good these kids are going to be when they follow things that they're interested in and that inspire them versus what they have to do on a piece of paper. So we've learned 3 things from our business, and you guys, the first one's passion, and you've heard that. You've heard us talk about that since the beginning. I want to leave you with 2 things just if you're interested in following it up. The first is my life motto, which Ryan hears me say all the time, which is be crazy about something. Not crazy as in the sane asylum crazy, but crazy passionate about something that you care about. If you try and pursue a career or a hobby that you don't care about, it's not going to be fun. You're going to lose interest, and you're not going to be successful at it. You've got to be crazy about something. The other thing that I want to share with you about passion is this book called The Alchemist. In a lot of ways, it's a fable, it's very spiritual, but it's also about following your God-given path. I believe wholeheartedly that God does have a path for all of us, and that we have to listen to Him and the hints that He gives you to be successful. And this book is really special because it has an agnostic view of God. It actually talks about 3 different gods, religions, but it follows how this overarching faith that you do have a path and that you have a destiny to follow it. And I believe that a lot of points in my life follows the story of Santiago, the boy, the main character in the book. And one of the points in his life, he gets stuck for a few years having to work a job in Morocco at a crystal shop. And one of the hardest but most important steps in his life is saying goodbye to the owner of the crystal shop and going on to the next step, even though the next step was uncertainty. And I'm doing that myself. I'm quitting my day job on August 31st. And so I'm leaving my crystal shop, and I hope that you all can find an opportunity to leave your crystal shop too and follow your passion to your destiny. The second thing, and Brian wanted to talk about this when we were planning, is perseverance. And he already told you about his perseverance on the phone with Lego, but he has a few more thoughts.
On that perseverance, probably more so as age is not a limitation on any side of the scale. You know, me and Jeremy, to this day, we're still under 26 collectively. And still, we walk into school districts and we're the youngest people who own a business there. We walk into many of these places and people kind of say, you guys are business owners, you're too young. And it's been that way for us since we were 14, because people, for some reason, see this prime age for owning companies, and it's something, a mold that we've always had to break. And so I say it as a struggle on our side from the young factor, but to anybody in the room, and this is something that I hope is passed on to people, friends and family, but there is no age limitation to anything. Age has no limitation. When you're old, middle, young, it doesn't matter. As long as that passion, drive, and inspiration is what's guiding you, there's going to be success. Our company has a goal. We're a community-based, technically for-profit company, but that profit's never been our goal. It's been, let's bring quality. If we bring quality, money will follow. And that's the way it's always worked for us ever since we started 10 years ago back selling Lego. And that's where we will always go in the future.
Yeah. You know, and my grandpa has this fantastic idea for a hot dog stand. And there's a lot of little jokes in there and why it's a great idea, and I'm not going to go into detail about it. And he says, oh, I'm too old to start a business. And he's actually 10 years younger than Colonel Sanders was when he started at KFC. Granted, Colonel Sanders didn't live to see the success of his company that it became, but there is no limit. And that's one thing that we try and tell our grandfather, who ironically has been an entrepreneur all his life and should just be able to go out and do it if he wanted to. One more thing that we really learned is to be fearless. Bootstrapping is scary. Quitting your job is scary. But if you have something that you care about, it's really easy to do. A lot of people, there is risk, there will be failure, but if you think you let your fears drive you, you'll never take that step. And we have faced limitations, you know, because of our age. We have been told by banks no when we think we needed the loan.
Still are.
And still are.
Because we're too young.
But at the same time, at 26 years old, we both own a house. So we fought back against that, and we've proven ourselves, and there's no reason why you can't too. It's scary to call up a representative from one of the biggest toy companies in the world, second biggest toy company in the world, and tell them that you're worth talking to. It's scary to walk into a bank when you just turned 18 years old and say, hey, I need a business checking account with the credit card, and you better give it to me. We got that one. But if you're scared to do that, you're never going to see the success. So you've got to be fearless when you're doing things like bootstrapping, when you're following your passions. And you've got to be able to sell yourself, sell that idea, sell that passion. And if you're too scared to do that, you're not going to make it.
It's going to show through.
So, oh yeah.
All right. We do appreciate your time today, guys. And, you know, hopefully there wasn't too much rambling, but it really just, our biggest point was just passion drives success. So we hope that that's the only thing you take from today, then that is, in my mind, successful. One
thought that I want to leave us with, and this is more, we originally wrote this for Gangplank Avondale, but I think that this applies to all Gangplanks, is that when we first walked into Gangplank, June of last year, it was scary to us because it's very tech looking. And I think that we all need to, when we talk to friends about what Gangplank is to us, sometimes the story gets lost in, there's a lot of software programmers, there's a lot of web workers here. We are an anchor that struggles to keep our website up to date. We use our computer, yes, because you have to use a computer for running a business, but we could run our business without a computer. Whereas I think we're probably the only anchor company here that could say that we could run our business without a computer.
Jeremy could.
Jeremy could, yes. Thank you. One thing that we want to challenge everyone to talk about as members of the Gangplank community is talk to your friends and family that are and colleagues that are focused on creativity, not just on technology. Because there's a lot that can be brought into Gangplank. If you challenge people who think creatively, there's a lot more that can come into Gangplank. And if we, you know, it's great to have, and it's really easy for somebody to come in and drop in and work on a website, but there's a lot of depth that can be brought in. Like I said, if we can find more people who aren't about technology, might use technology, but are more about creativity. And that's our message to every Gangplank, but especially Avondale when we go back and give this talk again, because they only had 2 people there, so we're going back.
Thank you very much.
Are there any questions for the guys that you all know? I can't believe you can't get a loan in a bank and you're both homeowners. That is bizarre.
Yeah.
Well, now we probably could.
I was going to say.
We couldn't 2 years ago.
We first applied for SBA. We first applied for an SBA. We were actually trying to open a toy store. The original idea for the original application Bonanza was going to be in a project room at a toy store. And SBA didn't like the idea of us having a toy store. But the timing was right that being told no gave us a second.
Kind of saved our life.
Yeah, gave us a second to step back and look at things and say maybe now's not the right time. And
because somebody opened up that toy store in Ahwatukee and closed it in less than 2 years.
Well, ours would have stayed open. Ours would have stayed open. We still, like, a part of us still dreams about, you know, maybe that'd be fun to do. But with the growth of Bonanza, we're going to focus on that right now. We're going to focus on getting our message and our lessons and our curriculum out to as many kids as possible. We wrote a mission purpose statement that includes a whole section just about our involvement in the community. And so we're going to focus on that right now. We might go back to that idea. The future of any retail is one of 2 paths. One path is lowest cost, crappiest service, which is where your Walmarts and your Targets fit in. The other route is creating an experience, because you're not going to beat a big box or the internet on a price if you're a small businessman with a toy store or an anything store. But if you create an experience,
which is
reason
why
that somebody
everybody
wants
goes
to
to the
come.
M&M and Coca-Cola store in Las Vegas.
If you create an
Why else
experience,
would you
people
go?
will come. And so we believe that we could create that experience. That doesn't mean that's where we want to go, because there's so many ideas for businesses up in this head, and I'm sure in that one as well. But our focus right now is this. But we know we could do it if we wanted to.
Alright. You guys apply for funding like through Kickstarter or Kiva?
We might be doing some Kickstarter for the flag project at the end of the tour, but we haven't for anything else yet. I have a friend who is in Vegas today because apparently laws changed on how to privately fund companies. And so he's at a convention working on that right now. So options are opening up because of some law changes about how to independently fund companies. If that's something anybody's interested in too, I can direct you to him because he's got a really good plan right now. They're going to start kind of hashing it out right in the next few days.
That's interesting. I'd like to hear more about that.
Have you guys met Paul at Avondale? He's a former engineer and is a patent guy, and he's doing a multi-part series for Avondale about crowdsourcing funding for small business.
No, I haven't met him yet.
And yeah, okay.
That'd be cool.
Any stories from kids that have gone through your program, what they created, some of their feedback, parents' feedback?
Well, the
Anything like
best
that?
thing to hear from parents is, well, actually, there's a couple things. When we go and do events, and whether it's a summer camp, a birthday party, or an after-school class, they say, I've never seen my child so captivated in something, and finding out that they're being educated at the same time to a level that they don't get in schools. That's really cool. And then also when we go and have got more into the community with some of our community builds, we hear parents that come up and say, after your class, it's like their entire collection became brand new again with Lego. And I've never seen my kids build so much together that they drop the computer and the video games now, and instead they come home and play together with Lego for 2 hours. You know, instead of playing video games for 2 hours. That's really makes us feel good when it comes down to it, that, you know, it's coming from us to them and it's sticking with them through our classes and after our events.
Awesome.
Publicly, we're not allowed to talk about this. We can share with us among friends that the Arizona flag, as part of the two-piece Arizona Centennial Flag Tour, was or had brick that was supplied by the Lego company at cost. We want to call them a sponsor. They're not able to allow us to do that, but it's very, very, very uncommon. In fact, the invoice is so funny because the invoice says Lego bricks supplied to fan for project. There's not even a line item on the invoice that explains the sale of bulk brick because it doesn't happen. And that's because the Lego company really likes what we're doing. We're in a lot of ways out here advertising their products to all these kids, but we're also proving a timelessness value. The Lego company does have an education, direct-to-education program as well that we kind of snuff. We don't like what they make because it's all structured within this traditional curriculum, and we're not teaching traditional curriculum. We're teaching creativity.
And all of our curriculum too has an underlying tone of career paths. So art and design, architecture, automotive creation, sculpting.
So a
And
fun,
there's no.
yeah, a fun fact too is when we first started, there weren't very many of us, and kind of there was this explosion of franchisees that came into the valley right after we started. There are 3 franchise companies that do Lego classes that work in the valley, and we're going in and we're just like, we're taking over their territories because of the reputation that we're building and the the experience the kids are getting with us.
And that's the thing too, is, you know, we have ethics in our company. We've never purposely gone out and taken their territory. It's where these school districts who already have this franchise in their district call us and ask us to switch them out. Because again, they see that passion, that reputation that we have in our company, where we've had calls from districts before in the past. They're like, hey, can you come up to, you know, Maricopa County or whatever for us? And we're like, yeah, we can in about 9 months. And they're like, what? Why? Well, because we're more worried about quality than we are about growth. And so if we go to your area, we want to be fully prepared for you. And where you think that that would turn a lot of companies away, or a lot of places away, and say, I want you now, I don't want you in 9 months, it's actually come out to be a benefit for us, because they're actually more so impressed and say, you know what, that's cool. If you guys want to really offer quality to us and a longevity, that's what they're looking for. Or at least in our case so far.
And another question.
You guys have helped some kids create films. What are some of the most creative films that they've made, and are any of those films available online?
The films are available online on our Real Stars Facebook page. And I think one of the most creative ones I've seen, we had a summer camp a couple weeks ago where we introduced film through summer camps for the first time. And they ended up having to pick a couple different assignments for themselves. One classroom chose to do documentary. It was kind of cool because they did an entire documentary on our Lego camp that we're probably going to use to advertise our camp. And the other one is that these kids also developed a curriculum style for us, because they put together, they said, well, we want to design a film that's in black and white and silent, where other kids can fill in the words later on. And so they filmed this whole movie that's like 2.5 minutes long with all this creativity in it, all these different things happening, and they're just moving their mouths so that the next group of kids, the next class, can fill in the storyline for that story. So those are kind of the two that I see being the most creative, because we didn't tell the kids to do that. We gave them the tools to use the camera, we gave them how to film, we gave them everything they needed to make a movie, and said, okay, now what do you want to do with it? And we'll help you along the way.
And that's
what came of it.
And that's kind of something that resonates through all of our classes. Our urban movement program, we really hesitate to call it dance class, even though in a lot of ways it looks like a dance class. And we go up to the school districts and they're like, oh, it's dance class. We're like, no. Dance classes come in with a style and a choreography. We teach expression and they choreograph themselves.
So what it does, it allows a kid who enjoys hip-hop, ballet, breakdancing to join together, and gives them all an expressive voice in how to do that choreography through the event. I mean, we see TV shows like some of the dance shows like America's Got Talent, where some of these dance crews come in with multiple styles merging together. That's kind of what we want to encourage in our classes when it comes down to that urban movement.
And to give you an idea of what an average activity in our class is, as an example, in our film class, they have a prop challenge. They have to make a story from a prop. Chris was telling me that in our last camp, one group was given a bowl of fruit, and they went outside, they personified the fruit, and had them do a battle that was called the Hungry Games. And so our challenges, our activities, we just give them like a little seed, and what becomes of that seed is nurtured by their minds, by their creativity. And so a challenge might be have a prop. In stop motion animation, it might be, here is a Lego figure. Name him and give him a character, give him all the traits of a character, and write a story for him. And we might give them a panda bear, and they have to give this panda bear a story. And they're always different. You think that kids would fall back on things they know? Very rarely. More often than not, you see them tearing apart the Indiana Jones character and giving him a gorilla head, and then have it be the gorilla adventurer, even though they could play it safe and call it Indiana Jones versus King Kong. They don't do that, and that's what's so exciting about seeing what these kids are creating. Our display tables, when we go out and demo and explain to parents what we do, are completely made of creations that kids made for us, that we pulled out of the buckets before they got torn off and said, you know, this is a good example to show. We don't build things. People are like, what on this table did you build? Nothing. My students built all this. And that's exciting.
And how old were the kids that put together this film that you're talking about?
Hungry Games?
Yeah. How old and how many kids worked on it together?
There were Chris, with a mouthful of food. Hungry Games. How many kids were in the team?
4 kids.
4 kids, and they were third to
7th grade.
3rd to 7th grade.
Cool.
I just want to say I think what you guys are doing is really awesome, and I would like to see it all over the place.
Thanks.
Most of the education system is, rote memorization, and these types of skills are what's actually going to help people to become, really valuable, respected members of a team when they need to go solve problems.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. Ours are set up to be challenges for people because that's what a career path is nowadays. And it's a web designer that gets, a sketch on a napkin. I want this. Okay, let me see what I can do with that. And they have to think through that little seed of an idea and develop something that that person wants by looking at the characteristics of that person, the details within their business or whatnot, and making it tailor their needs.
One thing that's really cool for us is
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. This year, we will be going out and touring and meeting with, I think it's Oliver Tully, I think is his name, from the Tully School in San Francisco. The guy, he gave a very famous TEDx conversation on changing the way education works. His school is completely uncredited. The kids are getting nothing out of going there. He says that they're all going to have to get GEDs or take some sort of placement exam to graduate. And the parents there don't care because they're like, look at the world around us. Granted, it's a Silicon Valley area, so a lot of the people out there are forward-thinking anyway. But we have been invited to go out and meet with him because some of the things that he's doing are in line with some of the things that we're doing. And who knows, we might, plus with the mixture of Gangplank Jr. here in Chandler and hopefully at other Gangplanks as we build and grow, great partnership opportunity. And we are also partnered with Gangplank Chandler or Gangplank Jr. to help push the curriculum out and get it into schools. And we're working with the City of Avondale to deploy Gangplank Jr. as well as Bonanza educational classes into that area as well.
Nobody's ever asked us for our GED scores or what we graduated in college, or even in this company if we graduated college. And, are there reasons for college? Yes, very much so. But it's not the only choice anymore. There's a lot of different options out there and a lot more that are driven by entrepreneurs with amazing concepts that are designed for products. There's so many doors being opened to those product designs where everybody's putting down on cheap things being made in other countries. I think that's awesome because we can make the ideas now. We can say, hey, I can come up with these crazy ideas, ship them to another country and get them made in 4 days, and then get them back and get them on the market. Like speaking of Kickstarter, the gentleman who created that watch that got, what?
10 million.
10 million, yeah, it was like somewhere around $10 million funding, and all they wanted was $500,000 or something like that, because they saw a need of integrating a phone with a watch, which is brilliant, and said, we can develop it. They made a prototype, put it on Kickstarter and said, hey, if the community wants it, they're going to take it. And it's incredible what ended up happening with it.
So, Brian and Jeremy, I also applaud you for your initiative, your vision, and everything else. What could the Gangplank community do to help you guys? If you had a magic wand what would you want?
I think this has been the most successful thing for us, just being around these other people who are wildly successful.
Yeah.
It's been a true dream that, you know, Gangplank has opened its doors for us to come in and allows us to be fools at our desk all the time and really just absorb the knowledge that sits around us. You know, like the company Bird, what, they've only been together a year and a half or so, and they're growing like a wildfire. And then to have the reputation of 40 over there and Authority Labs with their business skills for the last 10 years, working with large companies, I mean, I couldn't ask for anything better. This environment is what helps us grow. And you know, whenever we have issues, it's very much the Gangplank thing. You prairie dog up, hey, I got a problem. And somebody or 10 people swarm around you to help you with it. That's success to me.
Awesome.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, thank you guys. Give them a hand.